Welcome back. The Star Beats fan McQueen Crazy McQueen and I were given alongside quite proper McQueen checked out me form of like an older brother. James Garner, the legendary big name of Maverick and the Rockford Files, was recognized for his wit, appeal and honesty, but there was one story he stored locked away for decades. His time on The Great Escape wasn't just a cinematic milestone, it turned into the backdrop for a fiery conflict with Steve McQueen, certainly one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars. Now, lengthy after Garner's passing, his candid revelations about McQueen have surfaced, exposing a facet in their courting few ought to have imagined. What secrets did Garner take to the grave? The truth is ultimately out, but earlier than we get into those lovely revelations, it is important to explore the early activities that introduced about the connection among James Garner and Steve McQueen. The untold battles of James Garner. James Garner wasn't only a Hollywood icon, he turned into a man who overcame awesome, demanding situations to turn out to be one of the most liked actors of his era. Recognized for his effortless charisma, he brought life to characters just like the sly gambler Brett Maverick and the unfappable Jim Rockford, leaving an indelible mark on both TV and film. Born James Scott Garner on April 7, 1928 in Denver, Oklahoma, Garner's early years were something but smooth. Developing up in the course of the Great Depression, he lost his mom at just 5 years old while she tragically handed away for the duration of a botched abortion. His father, Weldon Garner, owned a hardware keep but struggled to provide for Garner and his older brothers after the loss of his wife. Whilst a fire destroyed the own family hardware save, Weldon turned to booze, and the results have been devastating. Garner and his brothers persevered, forget and abuse, frequently being pressured to sing for his or her meals and punished in the event that they refused. In the end, Weldon remarried, but the boys' struggling only deepened. Garner defined his stepmother Wilma as cruel, recounting incidents wherein she reportedly hit him with tree branches and dressed him in girls' clothing as a shape of humiliation. On the age of 14, Garner should take no greater all through a violent war of words. He fought again, overpowering Wilma in self-defense. At that second, his father intervened and averted in addition escalation. However, the harm was done. Garner later admitted that had his father no longer stepped in, he would possibly have gone to some distance. Now, not long after, Weldon abandoned the own family, all collectively leaving James and his brothers to fend for themselves. In spite of his chaotic upbringing, Garner's resilience carried him forward. He took on quite a few odd jobs, consisting of a short stint inside the Merchant Navy that ended due to chronic seasickness. He even labored as an underclothes model for a time, an ironic footnote within the life of a person destined for Hollywood stardom. In 1950, Garner was drafted into American Army and deployed to Korea with the 5th Regimental Fight Group of the 24th Department. His time in the Korean War became grueling. Simply 2 days after arriving, he was injured by shrapnel from a mortar assault, and months later, he became wounded again, this time through friendly fire. Those injuries earned him 2 Pink Hearts, although Garner hardly ever spoke about his service, who prefer to downplay his heroism, a lesser recognized but fascinating quirk of Garner's life was his severe aversion to garlic, which he advanced in the course of his Navy career. This sensitivity performed a surprising function in his survival. On one event, his unit's meal became unknowingly poisoned. However, Garner prevented it completely due to its garlic content. Garner's quick instincts also proved existence-saving. One freezing nighttime, while on shield duty, he stuck the faint scent of garlic in the air, knowing that enemy soldiers often fed on garlic-heavy diets. He realized that they have been near. He alerted his unit, and they correctly ambushed the enemy, likely stopping a deadly attack. After returning domestic from the battle, Garner picked up strange jobs, operating as a gas station attendant and even laying carpets along with his father. In the future, he crossed paths with Paul Gregory, a man who identified something special in him. Gregory would in the end grow to be a skills agent and encourage Garner to attempt acting. First of all, Garner brushed off Gregory's concept. However, years later, whilst he spotted Gregory's name on a business enterprise sign, he determined to reconnect. That risk assembly marked the start of his appearing profession. Gregory secured Garner his first position in the Caine Mutiny court-martial, wherein he appeared as a non-speaking member of the court. Although the position became small, it opened the door to larger possibilities. Garner went directly to land a component in Cyanara along Marlon Brando, but his huge damage came in 1957 while he changed into cast as Brett Maverick within the Western series Maverick. The display's success wasn't a foregone conclusion. Many doubted it is able to compete with the likes of The Ed Sullivan Show and The Steve Allen Show, but Garner, with his herbal charm and sharp comedic timing, delivered something specific to the position. Within years, Maverick became a runaway hit, solidifying Garner as a family call and proving to Hollywood that his skills became unrivaled. However, Garner's departure from the display became influenced through extra than just his newfound fame. Why James Garner left Maverick. James Garner fast have become the coronary heart and soul of Maverick, charming audiences with his sly wit and easy charisma as Brett Maverick. The display was a massive hit and Garner's career was soaring, but in 1960 a writer's strike delivered Hollywood to a halt, setting the level for a dramatic warfare. between Garner and the studio that could, in the end, alternate his career with the strike production on Maverick floor to a halt. No scripts meant no new episodes, and as a long way as Warner Brothers turned into involve no work for Garner regardless of his rising stardom. He changed into income simply $1,250 every week when the studio all at once laid him off, citing the lack of scripts. Garner felt betrayed. The decision ignited a fireplace in him, one which pushed him to take a stand against the studio's unfair practices. Feeling undervalued and mistreated, Garner sued Warner Brothers for breach of agreement, a formidable foe that taken aback Hollywood. However, Garner became no stranger to gambling, high-stakes gamble each on screen, and rancid. His case was robust, and he in the long run gained the lawsuit. The victory sent a clean message about his dedication to combat for what he believed was proper. Warner Brothers tried to make amends, providing Garner a raise and a new contract. However, the damage turned into carried out. Garner had grown disappointed with the studio system, likening himself to a puppet controlled through the whims of executives determined to take rate of his career. He made the daring selection to stroll far from Maverick. No matter losing its megastar, Warner Brothers wasn't ready to allow go of Maverick. The show's recognition persevered, and Jack Kelly, who performed Bart Maverick, remained. However, Kelly's character didn't have the same magnetism as Garner's, so the studio set out to discover a alternative, a close to look-alike to step into Garner's boots. Input: Robert Colbert, a rather unknown actor who bore a striking resemblance to Garner. Warner Brothers dressed him in the same wardrobe and coached him to mimic Garner's mannerisms, renaming his character Brent Maverick Colbert, but became uncomfortable with the plan, joking that he'd as a substitute play a girl named Brenda, then be a replica of James Garner. The studio also brought any other Maverick, Bo Maverick, portrayed by a younger Roger Moore, who would later become James Bond. At the same time as the concept of more than one Maverick cousin sounded promising, the display neglected a golden opportunity by means of preserving the characters in separate storylines. This fractured approach hindered the collection, and finally each Moore and Colbert departed, leaving Jack Kelly to carry the display by myself. In its final season, in the beginning, the studio had an extraordinary imaginative and prescient for Bo Maverick. They wanted the individual to be worldly and complicated, with a British accessory to suit for this position. They approached Sean Connery, a rising star. Connery flew to Hollywood to talk about the element, however turned it down, deciding on rather to cognizance on larger possibilities, just like the James Bond franchise, that could cement his region in cinematic records. Roger Moore, who have been starring in The Alaskans, took over as Bo Maverick. Interestingly, The Alaskans additionally confronted challenges all through the writer's strike, leading Warner Brothers to recycle antique Maverick scripts for the show. This price-cutting measure did not pass. Disregarded. Moore himself identified the recycled plots, and the collection became cancelled after simply 37 episodes. Though Garner's departure marked the end of an era for Maverick, he wasn't completed with the character. In 1994, Richard Donner directed a film version of Maverick, with Mel Gibson stepping into the role of Brett Maverick. The film captured the spirit of the unique series, blending adventure and humor with Gibson channeling Garner's charm. Fittingly, James Garner joined the solid as Marshal Zane Cooper, a function that would tackle more importance by through the film's give up. Garner's presence brought an experience of nostalgia and continuity, deepening the relationship between the film and its TV roots. Interestingly, Paul Newman had initially been considered for the role of Zane Cooper, but while he declined, the part went to Garner, a poetic twist given his ties to the Maverick legacy. The 1994 Maverick movie was each a vital and commercial success. Audiences and critics alike praised Garner's seamless go back to the franchise, celebrating the manner he over again added the Maverick global to existence, but it changed into Garner's in advanced breakout position in The Great Escape that cemented his stardom. However, behind the scenes of that iconic film, a fierce competition unfolded, leaving a lasting mark on its manufacturing. The rivalry behind The Great Escape. After his success in Maverick, James Garner stepped into a new venture with the 1963 war drama The Great Escape. Based on a real tale, the film chronicled a daring prison break via Al prisoners of war at some stage in World War II. Directed by means of John Sturges, the film have become a defining second in Garner's career, showcasing his potential to painting a resourceful and heroic man or woman. It also solidified his region alongside Hollywood greats like Steve McQueen, whose role in the film might grow to be one of his maximum iconic. The tale unfolds in a German P camp in which Allied prisoners, inclusive of Americans, British, and Australians, are held beneath heavy surveillance. Determined to get away, the prisoners rally below the management of Massive X, performed by means of Richard Attenborough. Each prisoner brings their very own knowledge to the plan. Garner's character, Henley, nicknamed the Sir, charms his way into acquiring the vital components for the escape. Meanwhile, McQueen's Cooler King captivates audiences Together with his rebellious spirit and Charles Bronson's Tunnel King endures claustrophobic struggles to dig the escape tunnels despite severe setbacks, which include the invention of one tunnel. The group stays undeterred, their collective determination consequences in one of the maximum bold escape attempts ever seen on display. However, the harsh realities of war overshadow their triumph. Most of the prisoners are hunted down through the Gestapo with tragic effects for most of the escapees. The film's gripping story and unforgettable characters earned it a long-lasting area in cinematic records. While The Great Escape was loosely primarily based on Paul Brick Hill's proper account, the screenplay turned into crafted to focus on the competencies of its ensemble. Forged, the result changed into a film packed with suspense, camaraderie, and unyielding desire that resonated with audiences worldwide. On set, Steve McQueen, still on the upward push as a Hollywood megastar, turned into determined to depart an enduring impact. His rivalry with Garner have become obtrusive as McQueen, driven for greater display screen time, particularly pissed off via the appeal and resourcefulness of Garner's Sir function that frequently stole the spotlight. Tensions grew among McQueen and the director John Sturges as McQueen demanded changes to make his individual extra distinguished, but McQueen's overall performance, especially the now iconic motorbike break-out scene, proved he didn't need additional display time to shine. The movie's energy lay in its ensemble solid. Garner's appeal, Attenborough's leadership, Bronson's grit, and James Coburn's dry wit all contributed to the tale's emotional effect. Whilst the movie debuted in 1963, it obtained a mix of essential reactions. Some, like the New York Times' Bosley Crowther, disregarded the film as overly mechanical and lacking emotional depth. Others, such as Time magazine, praised its realistic depiction of the German, placing the properly paced narrative and its impeccable casting. In spite of its divisive reviews, The Great Escape went on to emerge as a timeless classic, beloved via audiences and celebrated for its exciting tale of bravery and sacrifice. But what did James Garner actually consider Steve McQueen's on-set behavior? James Garner eventually breaks silence on Steve McQueen. Hollywood has usually been a hub of glitz, glamour, and inevitably drama. From the golden age of cinema to the contemporary, rivalries and feuds among stars have captivated lovers and fueled countless headlines. Fueled by jealousy, ego, and opposition, those conflicts regularly monitor the human side of larger-than-life personalities. James Garner, known for his charm, easygoing nature, and professionalism, wasn't entirely immune to Hollywood feuds. Though he normally maintained nice relationships with his colleagues, his feelings closer to Steve McQueen were drastically much less amicable. Regardless of working together on the enduring film The Great Escape, their relationship turned into marked through anxiety and clashing personalities. At the surface, the two seemed friendly for the duration of film, but McQueen's aloof and regularly eccentric behavior created distance between them. McQueen, who preferred solitude, stayed in a non-public chalet and arrived on set in a Rolls-Royce, adding to the divide. Garner, ever the immediately shooter, later expressed his candid opinion of McQueen in his 2011 memoir, The Garner Documents. He defined McQueen as a pain inside the ass, evaluating his behavior to Marlon Brando's unpredictability. Garner went similarly, suggesting that McQueen was extra of a movie celebrity than a true actor, counting on a carefully cultivated persona as opposed to intensity and flexibility. He believed this approach restricted McQueen's potential as a performer. Garner's frustrations weren't constrained to McQueen's appearing, however, additionally prolonged to his on-set behavior, which protected tantrums and disruptions. At one point, matters escalated to any such diploma that director John Sturges considered shifting the movie's attention to make Garner the imperative person instead of McQueen. Although flattered, Garner declined the provide, spotting the chaos one of these drastic trade might purpose. As an alternative, he addressed McQueen at once, getting to know that McQueen become unhappy along with his man or woman, feeling it lacked heroism and exhilaration. Sturges simply reportedly brought back stunt scenes and revised the person to make it greater dynamic, a exchange many believe labored in McQueen's want. Nevertheless, Garner saw McQueen's demands as needless and self-serving, leaving a long-lasting effect of his co-star's difficult nature. In the Garner Documents, Garner shared deeply private and sincere anecdotes approximately his career and relationships, providing an unfiltered glimpse into his lifestyles in Hollywood. Along his reflections on McQueen, he criticized movie mogul Jack Warner as one of the rudest guys he'd ever met and known as out Charlton Hahn for his stiff appearing style, but it turned into his relationship with McQueen that garnered unique interest. Garner described McQueen as insecure, liable to jealousy, and at instances hard to deal with. Garner even discovered that McQueen's wife Nyla had confided in him approximately her husband's struggles with lack of confidence and unfounded suspicions of infidelity. No matter this, Garner maintained that McQueen wasn't inherently malicious, but as an alternative, a deeply insecure man or woman whose Behavior turned into formed by means of his fears. Garner regularly noticed himself as a mentor to McQueen, similar to an older brother, but McQueen's insecurities from time to time pressure their dating. In one instance, McQueen falsely accused Garner of being unfaithful to New York, a declare Garner dismissed as baseless and a manufactured from McQueen's anxieties. The memoir additionally sheds light on Garner's interactions with any other exceptional escape co-famous person. Charles Bronson. Garner's experience with Bronson was some distance much less superb. He described Bronson as sour and belligerent, recounting an uncomfortable incident for the duration of a poker sport at his home. Bronson, refusing to honor a wager, tried to withhold winnings from a struggling Hollywood extra. Garner usually desired to arise for what he believed changed into proper, insisted Bronson pay up, resulting in a heated argument that nearly grew to become bodily, even though the instantaneous anxiety become resolved. The bad blood among the two lingered even years later during a risk assembly at a eating place. Neither guy may want to permit cross of their past grievances. Both recounted their lingering resentment, a reminder that some Hollywood feuds depart scars that in no way absolutely heal. Within the Garner documents, Garner wasn't afraid to peel back the layers of his polished all-American persona to show the complexities below, at the same time as audiences cherished his affable, grounded allure. Garner also shared the grittier truths of his lifestyles. A number of the maximum sudden revelations became his experimentation with materials, including MJ and white stuff. He even mentioned a memorable experience doing lines with the past-due comedian John Belushi, presenting a glimpse into the more rebellious side of his in any other case grounded persona. The memoir also delved into Garner's political beliefs, which were a giant part of his identification. A proud liberal, Garner famous figures like A.D.L. Stevenson and Barack Obama and his values regularly prompted the roles he selected and the manner he approached his career. While reflecting on his frame of work, Garner held The Notebook and the Americanization of Emily in especially high regard, thinking about them the greatest movies of his career. He determined specific pleasure within the growing appreciation for the Americanization of Emily, which won cult status over time, regardless of being underpreferred on the time of its release. Although Garner had a soft spot for movies like Murphy's Romance and Grand Prix, he changed into refreshingly honest about the rest of his filmography. He failed to shy away from admitting that lots of his movies have been mediocre at exceptional, and some, in his words, outright terrible. But no matter his allure and success, Garner's maximum iconic position in the Rockford Files got here with its very own set of battles, each on and rancid. The display the struggles in the back of Rockford's achievement. In the mid-1970s, Roy Huggins, the author of the original Maverick collection, had an idea to reinvent one in all his maximum iconic creations. Teaming up with Stephen J. Cannell, Huggins advanced the Rockford Documents, a cutting-edge day detective series that might draw at the charm and wit of Maverick. At its center became Jim Rockford, a personal investigator brought to existence by means of the charismatic James Garner. Garner, already a family call from his role in Maverick, observed a new possibility to shine as Rockford, and his portrayal Fast earned him an Emmy Award for Exquisite Lead Actor. Premiering in 1974, The Rockford Files Fast have become a beloved staple of television, drawing audiences into the gritty underbelly of Los Angeles, in which Jim Rockford solved cases from his humble mobile home. Rockford wasn't your typical action hero, in contrast to the invincible and polished protagonists of the technology he turned into. Wrong, frequently down on his luck, and incredibly relatable, dwelling in a trailer at the seaside, dressed in rumpled garments and relying on wit as plenty as talent. Rockford embodied a form of each-man enchantment that resonated with viewers, including to the display's allure become Garner's commitment to authenticity. He insisted on appearing many of his stunts, such as high-octane automobile chases that have become a hallmark of the collection. Garner's passion for automobiles, rooted in his revel in filming the 1966 racing film Grand Prix, determined its way into the Rockford Documents, where Jim's iconic gold Pontiac Firebird became as tons a celeb as he became, but this willpower to ISM got here at a steep fee. Over the years, the physical toll of the stunts started out to put on Garner's frame, mainly his knees, and again by the sixth season doctors warned him to cut back at the bodily needs of the function, a caution that coincided with the collection result in 1980, the decision to finish the Rockford Files wasn't pretty much Garner's health. The display's manufacturing charges were notoriously high, way to its common movement sequences, pricey place shoots, and routine damage to the Pontiac Hearthbird. Retaining the automobile frequently damaged during stunts required regular maintenance and replacements. Even smaller details like Jim Rockford's memorable personalized registration code 853OC introduced to the manufacturing's meticulous attention to detail and its costs. Visitor stars who became extra outstanding in later seasons also drove up charges, no matter its demanding situations. The display thrived on the energy of its writing and creativity. A spotlight of each episode changed into Rockford's answering machine message, a smart, regularly funny gag that became a signature of the collection as the display improved, developing with new and resourceful messages became a venture for the writers to preserve matters sparkling. The manufacturing team spread out the method to the entire NBC, constructing, inviting employees to publish ideas behind the scenes. The Rockford Files served as a launching pad for future talent, notably David Chase, who might move directly to create The Sopranos, become a part of the writing group. The show's topic music, composed by using Mike Publish, also have become iconic, cementing Submit popularity as one among television's wonderful composers. Even though The Rockford Files was a crucial and commercial success, its production confronted hurdles beyond the bodily toll on Garner and the escalating fees. Garner observed himself in a lengthy criminal battle with Universal Studios over unpaid royalties, a combat that lasted 8 years. Garner ultimately gained, securing a significant financial settlement, though the precise quantity changed into in no way disclosed. In spite of these challenges, Garner's dedication to the Rockford Files remained steadfast even beyond the original series. Within the 1990s, he reprised the function of Jim Rockford in 6 made-for-television films, lots to the delight of fans. But in the course of this period, Garner confronted personal and physical struggles such as essential coronary heart surgical procedure, which underscored the toll his lengthy career had taken on him. The show's legacy also extended to tries at spin-offs and reboots, although these projects by no means quite captured the magic of the original. In 1977, NBC tried to develop a spin-off called Gabby and Gandy, offering Isaac Hayes and Louis Gossett Jr. as a dynamic detective duo. A backdoor pilot for the collection aired as an episode of The Rockford Files titled Just Some Other Polish Wedding did not generate the predicted buzz, and the undertaking turned into shelf. Some other spin-off targeted at the individual Richie Brockelman, performed by using Dennis Dugan. While the individual made his debut in a TV film, Richie Brockelman, The Lacking 24 Hours, and later appeared in The Rockford Files, his standalone series Richie Brockelman Personal I lasted most effective 6 episodes. In 2010, lovers of The Rockford documents had been thrilled to pay attention about plans for a reboot. Dermot Mulroney, acknowledged for his paintings in Roma, the project involved famous producers together with Steve Carell and David Shore. Nice, known for developing residents Alan Tudyk and Beau Bridges, were forged in helping roles, similarly raising expectations for the reboot. However, the pilot did not seize the spirit of the authentic collection. Critics pointed to lackluster direction through Michael Watkins and an underwhelming portrayal of Rockford with the aid of Mulroney. Dawn Peruse, recognized for her paintings on Prison Break, attempted to salvage the pilot via extensive remodifying. However, her efforts were not sufficient to convince NBC executives. The reboot changed into in the end shelled, leaving fanatics disillusioned but nonetheless longing for a success revival within the future. However, at the back of the easy attraction and charisma of Jim Rockford, James Garner carried hidden struggles that instructed a totally one-of-a-kind story. James Garner's hidden struggles discovered James Garner become greater than just a gifted actor. He became a cherished icon of Hollywood, recognized for his charming portrayals of characters like Brett Maverick and Jim Rockford. He captured the hearts of audiences together with his wit, warmth, and authenticity off-screen. He earned respect not most effective for his professionalism, but also for his enduring marriage to Lois Clark, a rarity in Hollywood. Not like lots of his peers, Garner maintained a solid and loving dating at some point of his lifestyles, a testimony to his grounded nature. James Garner reportedly faced sizable health challenges later in lifestyles, a chain of problems which includes a debilitating stroke regularly bogged down his as soon as colorful profession. His determination to performing his stunts, specifically throughout his years on The Rockford Files, left him with numerous injuries that required more than one surgical procedures on his returned and knees. These bodily demands compounded over the years, forcing him to step lower back from the institution ruling tempo of his prime years. Garner spoke candidly approximately the cascading effect of his injuries, describing how one fitness issue frequently brought about every other chronic sinus infection's heart surgical treatment in 1988, and the lingering consequences of a 2008 stroke further complicated his situation. Notwithstanding those setbacks, Garner approached his health struggles with the same resilience that described his on-display characters. His longevity became also evident in actual life, as visible in a harrowing road rage incident he recounted at some stage in a 1981 interview. After a minor automobile accident, an enraged driver attacked him via the window of his car. The altercation escalated, leaving Garner with broken bones and a concussion after being time and again kicked while on the floor. Then again he stood his ground, demonstrating great courage in a daunting situation. In later years, Garner found himself pushing through the physical demanding situations of age at the set of Space Cowboys, where he joined Clint Eastwood, Donald Seedland, and Tommy Lee Jones, to painting a set of ready retired astronauts known as Again Into Movement. The role became traumatic for the older forged, and injuries were not uncommon. Garner dislocated his shoulder at some stage in filming with Eastwood, no stranger to shoulder accidents himself, stepping in to offer first resource, yet Garner disregarded the incident, insisting it changed into simply an inept coincidence, and not a reflection of his age. The film's most memorable second of vulnerability, however, wasn't physical, however comedic. In one scene, the four actors uncovered their bare backsides to the camera, a lighthearted reminder of the passage of time, that even Hollywood's legends could not escape. James Garner's health persevered to decline. After his stroke in 2008, and on July 19, 2014, he exceeded away at the age of 86. The reason of loss of life became determined to be a coronary heart assault. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, remark, and activate publish notifications to stay updated with our modern-day content material.